Hi, I'm Erik Linask, coming to you from Interop in Las Vegas, and I'm here with Nick, Carr, and Michael Ferris, both from Red Hat. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So why don't we get started? Can you give me a brief introduction to Red Hat, where you've come from and what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, Red Hat is, as you know, an open source supplier, the world's largest supplier of open source solutions, and we have a comprehensive portfolio of open source products. We're best known, or the longest life, we're best known for our Red Hat Enterprise Linux line of solutions, which cover both servers and desktops. And about 2 or 3 years ago, we acquired JBoss, and over the last 2 years have been rolling out a large portfolio of middleware solutions, so that customers can use open source really from sort of from the infrastructure level of the operating system right the way up through the middleware layers. We provide free versions of our technologies and work with the community to deliver them and develop them and enhance them. And then for our commercial customers, we provide subscription models, offerings of enterprise strength software, which we update and maintain and keep secure and keep stable, and provide a platform that our OEM partners and our ISV partners can use to basically create complete solutions based on open source software for our customers to use. This has been a rapidly growing business the last few years, and we find customers really value open source software for the price performance that it offers, combined with the quality and the security and the performance.
Certainly this week at the show, I'm sure you've seen it as much as I have. One of the hottest topics, everybody's talking about virtualization. It's been something people have been talking about, so I'm sure it's something that you've also had to consider.
Absolutely. So it's been core to our strategy for at least the last 2 years, and even before that in the open source realm, we've been working pretty aggressively. So what we've done is over the past 2 years is introduce a hypervisor, core virtualization capabilities into our product line. So we have Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which includes virtualization and has for over 2 years now. What we've been doing over the past year, though, is really taking this to the next level and evolving both the virtualization technology as well as moving into the management space much more aggressively. So in February, we announced a new product line called Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, which is going to incorporate an underlying hypervisor. We're going to pull that hypervisor again and move that forward within Red Hat Enterprise Linux. But then also we have a full management suite to handle both servers and desktops. So when customers want to take a data center, consolidate applications in the data center, get better utilization of those machines, we can provide that. But secondly, we can also help customers with their Windows and Linux desktops, moving them from fat clients on the end user side into the data center as well. And really the focus here is to help customers take any application, anywhere, anytime, whether they're on the server side or the desktop side, and make that really a reality. So we see virtualization as part of the operating system. It's core to what we do. And frankly, our experience, as Nick was mentioning, in the open source operating system side really takes a lot of the advantages behind what we've done in the hardware enablement. Certainly storage, networking, security has been core to that. And now we're able to provide that as part of this hypervisor and virtualization approach to everything in the entire stack that Nick mentioned. So it's really core to where we've been going.
How does that differ, or how does that benefit your customers as opposed to those who might be looking at proprietary technologies?
So certainly open source has been part of Red Hat's DNA from the start. And when we look at what has really helped the data center realize both capital and operating efficiencies over the past 10 years, it's been open source and Linux specifically that has helped drive that. And as Nick mentioned, moving that into the middleware side with JBoss, and now certainly enabling that on the virtualization side is really accelerating the pace of adoption, accelerating the capabilities that customers have in this. And really that kind of takes us to a next level of utilization here, where beyond just server and desktop virtualization, we can speak to clouds. And we can really start talking about how the ability to rapidly provision, to have capacity on demand, to really start getting better utilization rates and move essentially workloads to wherever they're best capable and best utilized within that overall cloud. So we see Linux and open source as not only part of the clouds today, but really necessary for its evolution. So as customers start to look at on-premise clouds or private clouds, as well as public clouds, and trying to marry these two usage scenarios together. Having open source and open standards be core to that is really what we see as part of the future, and certainly between the infrastructure as a service level, where Red Hat Enterprise Linux, virtualization will play, certainly the platform as a service level, where JBoss gets brought into that as part of the enabling vehicle behind it, and then even up at the application as a service level clouds, where you're really talking about providing different levels of services from different levels of applications, all built on this open source framework. That's really the core message we want to make sure people understand, and it's really bringing utility computing together today and making it a reality for customers.
I think it's worth mentioning, if we look at the open source industry over the past decade or so, when there were incumbent operating system suppliers, along came Linux, open source operating system, very successful, and established a large market for itself. And so we've seen open source make great inroads in the operating system market. Many of us using Firefox, or in the web browser market, the application server, whether it be Tomcat, or whether it be our web server, be Apache. And so open source has proven many times that it can provide good quality technology at a really compelling price, and it has made inroads basically in the middleware area, where it's been successful in all the areas that it's really focused on. And we see virtualization as simply repeating that model of success with a very competent technology, built in collaboration with a lot of people who are interested in making the best of breed technologies using open source development methodology. So we see virtualization as really establishing a beachhead as the areas I've described already, but also with virtualization. And as cloud, as Mike mentioned, we see exactly the same happening with clouds. In fact, to be perfectly frank, most of the clouds out there today are already Linux-based, if not all of them. Certainly the big famous ones are all Linux-based, as we are aware. Talking to Red Hat customers, upwards of 50 of our major customers are all talking to us to saying how can they take their Linux deployments and make them cloud, give them cloud capabilities in terms of the flexibility or the utility computing that cloud offers, either internally or externally. So we see open source as being really the foundation of successful clouds, not just now, where it already is the foundation of successful clouds, but in the future as well.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. We've been chatting here at Interop with Red Hat's Michael Ferris and Nick Carr. Thanks again. They've brought you the open source take on virtualization and cloud computing. Thank you.
Thanks very much.